It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome. It's the Jill on Money Show. This is the program that attempts to take the mystery out of your financial life. I'm your host, Jill Schlesinger, CBS News business analyst, and I'm also a certified financial planner. If you need a little guidance, mentoring, coaching about your finances, get in touch with us. Go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Let's start the show. This is an email from Dan, whose subject is Cyber Attack on Global Scale Against Financial Institutions. That's serious. Dan says, I've never heard this covered in detail. Since we live in a digital world with all of our financial savings being in the cloud, how do financial institutions protect our life savings from a cyber attack on a large scale? I know we're covered by the government up to a certain dollar amount, but what else? Okay, so this is a huge issue for every financial institution. They've got so many people trying to really control the security around all of this. Now, that is also to say that they are required by government to do that. They are very interested in doing it themselves. I don't know how to put this kindly, but like of all the things to worry about, I wouldn't worry about that because there is absolutely nothing you and I can do about it. It is much more important that we have you controlling what you can control, like locking down your credit by freezing your credit report and not being careless about sharing passwords or telling your kids or your aging parents not to click on links. Those are the things we can actually live with. You know, these large security breaches, I'm sure they happen all the time, but we don't hear about them. And the big companies are addressing it. I don't want you to worry too much about the things that are so beyond our control, but I get it. It's a concern. And believe me, when I tell you every financial institution has a huge security division. So that's the good news. Rich writes, Roth versus traditional. When is the tax bomb the better approach? Okay. He says, I'm an enthusiastic listener of the show. I'm interested in better understanding your frequent advice on limiting pre-tax contributions to avoid the tax bomb. My wife and I are a few years from retirement, and most of our retirement savings are in a brokerage account. It's after tax. But also a lesser but still significant sum is in traditional 401k accounts, which we maxed out our entire careers. I understand the benefit of tax-free withdrawals from Roth contributions. I also can't help but see the benefit of contributing on a pre-tax basis to have more of our money working for us in the market rather than going into paying additional income tax at our very high end-of-career marginal tax rate of 37%. Is there a rule of thumb or consistent way to assess when it's time to start contributing to a Roth versus a traditional in our retirement accounts? Well, Mark, I mean, this is a question we get all the time, which is, hey, we're high earners or we're even mid to high earners, but we live in a high tax state. So in this case, Rich and his wife earning over 750 grand or so puts them in this highest tax bracket. But what I would just suggest to you, Rich, is to just think about this. Is your tax bracket going to go down? What we hear over and over from a lot of financial advisors is those folks that are in that high tax bracket of 37, 35, even 32% don't often see their tax rates go down. They have so much income from their brokerage accounts. They are forced to take a bunch of income out of their retirement accounts. So it all starts to add up. So I guess that if I knew that somebody was in this high tax bracket and then was actually really going to go down into a bracket, yeah, maybe. But there's not a rule of thumb. It really depends on like what's already socked away, what's saved. You know, if you say to me, well, you know, I have, let's just make up a number. Let's say I have $5 million that's in pre-tax money. What I want you to know is that's going to push out 200 grand a year in income. Okay, that's going to be like your first required minimum distribution. And if on top of that you've got, more money coming out of taxable income coming from other sources like your brokerage account, maybe that adds up to 300,000 or 400,000 total. Sure, that 32% is lower than your current 37% tax bracket. And there's only one little asterisk, which is this presumes that tax rates stay at these levels. And I don't know whether they will. I know I've been saying they'd go up over time, and maybe they won't in our lifetimes, and maybe they will. So some of it is just about like your comfort level and taking that risk on. Priscilla writes, I'm 66 and I plan to work full time until I'm age 70. My moderate IRA and savings are managed by a large brokerage firm. Should I consider moving these accounts to a low-cost firm like Vanguard, or at this point, should I just leave it where it is? I'm trying to maximize retirement savings in these final years of my work life and wonder about the fees going out to the manager. I've been with her for a long time. She's been very supportive when I needed her. I have the impression that my account is relatively small compared to other clients. And I feel, therefore, I only get attention when I ask for it. Understandable, but maybe not worth the fee. Maybe too late to make the change worthwhile. I appreciate your time and advice, Priscilla. Okay, so Priscilla, I think it depends on what the alternative is to you, because if somebody's been there for you, and I know that you don't want to pay the fee, but you don't really want to do this yourself, then that gives you one set of choices. If you do want to do it yourself, then sure, you can go to Vanguard, but is this person at the big brokerage firm doing other things for you? You have to kind of weigh the pros and cons of this. I would be remiss if I didn't say, like, maybe this is a time to just shop the relationship around. I don't want to tell you to just go and get out and do this, because maybe this is a situation where it's important that you actually have somebody, and having somebody will mean paying some fee. So I'd be interested to learn what the fee is, what that person's providing for you, and then maybe we can give you some alternatives. This is one of my favorite questions. Where do I park $600,000 while I build my new house? And Jim says he listens every weekend on WBEN in Buffalo. Go Bills. Love the show. My wife and I are putting our home on the market next week. We're moving into a new rental ranch home for $2,800 per month while we build a new home. We're selling our old house for $700,000. I need to pay for the land, which will be $135,000. Then payments as the house is being constructed. Where do I put the money to get a decent return and also have the ability to withdraw it as needed? Well, of course, you have to keep this money safe, because I don't know how long it's going to take to build the new home. But I guess I would put a big chunk of it in a very boring high yield savings account. And then maybe I would stagger some CDs, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, based on what you think you're going to need in terms of paying for this house as it's constructed. That's what I would do. Nothing fancy. Absolutely nothing fancy. You hear that, gang? When you know you need the money, nothing fancy. If you have a financial question, just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we are trying to help you make better. Sometimes it's just less bad or more considered financial decisions. If something's going on in your financial life, you can just give us a holler by going to JillOnMoney.com, clicking the Contact Us button, writing us a note, and then if you want to join us live, You can just check the box and Mark will do everything else. It's just that easy. While you're on the website, don't forget to sign up for the free weekly newsletter. It comes out every Friday. A great tune-up for this program, as a matter of fact. So let's talk to Pete, who joins us from New York.
I've been listening to you guys for a long time, and I had a question because I felt like you guys have said, I know you love Roth, and I agree, but I felt like you've said do a brokerage over a traditional 401k, and that had me scratching my head.
Well, that's a great question, actually. It kind of depends on what the alternative is. Sometimes we'll say brokerage with an older person because we know that person might need liquidity and we don't want to add to the burden of having that untaxed money that's in there. Okay. So that can be the case. But let's talk about you and whether it makes sense for you. So tell us about what's going on for you in your life, and then we can kind of decide whether brokerage makes sense for you versus putting more money into a 401k. Who are you, Pete, and what's going on?
I'm a married father of 3 in my mid-40s. I own a home worth about $850,000. I have an outstanding mortgage of $330,000, 17 years left at 3.2%, which is beautiful.
Oh, boy. Yes,
I know,
isn't
right?
it? Oh, my gosh. Yes. Okay.
I would like to pay down that mortgage quicker. I have a philosophical difference with you guys, I think.
Yeah, you're wrong and I'm right.
Right,
Okay,
that's
continue.
fair.
No, we'll get back. We're going to get that. But that's okay. It may be that it's okay later. Okay. So how much do you guys earn?
Call it 575.
Are the kids all, are you like these college bound kids? Do you have 529 plans for them? What's happening?
Yeah. So I have, based on age from oldest to youngest, my kids are 15, 13, and 10. And I have 195,000, 153,000, and 112,000, respectively.
Great. That's great. Awesome. That's awesome. What about the amount of money that you guys have put away? Like, give us a little bit of the breakdown of the assets that you have.
Sure. They've all fallen into different buckets now unintentionally, but traditional 401k, 508, Roth 401k, 46,000. We have a rollover 403b from my wife for 58,000. We have a SEP that I just started, 9,000. And I have backdoor Roths of 48,000 and a brokerage of 50,000.
And what are you doing right now in terms of contributions? Are you putting all the money in the Roth 401k?
Yes, I believe in Roth, and I max it out, whatever that is, 23 or 24,000 annually into the Roth 401k.
Great. And is your wife also working full time?
She's not. She works part time. Most of the income, nearly all the income, comes from me.
Okay. And why the SEP? Are you doing, like, because you have a 401k, are you doing something on the side? You have a little side hustle?
No. I'm a part owner in my company, and it was something that recently became available to me. And I really don't understand SEPs too much, but I'm trying to put in, at this point, around 30,000 a year. I'll see if I can keep that up.
This is a corporate benefit where they say you can do a 401k with a SEP. I'm unfamiliar with that I'm used to like a 401k with a profit sharing plan. So I'm not as familiar with it with a SEP. Mark, have you heard about that? Having like a 401k with a SEP alongside it?
Mm-mm.
Could it help explain it that I have, as an part owner of my company, I am a corporation that's a part owner of my company. And I think maybe that allows me to set up the SEP. I'm really not sure.
Do you work with an accountant?
I do.
Just make sure your accountant like gives a New York papal blessing.
Yeah,
which might be actually a Jewish blessing. No, but
is it a Roth SEP, by the way?
It is not.
It's very strange to me.
Then I wouldn't even. I would. Well, we can get into it, but I would instead put that money into a brokerage account.
See, there we go. Okay, so this is going to be the interesting
Sure.
delineation. First of all, I want to make sure that that's actually like, I don't know who put that in. I don't know if this is like, oh, I'm part owner of this corporation and because to me, a corporation can do a ton of incredibly interesting things. Like, I don't know if it's a corporation, not an LLC, right?
It's a professional corporation. It's not
a
it's not
PC.
an yeah, I think it's a PC. It's not an LLC. Yeah.
Okay. Because there are some really cool things that you can do alongside a 401k, which is you can put a 401k with a profit sharing plan on top of it, which is a really cool thing to do. I don't know how many partners there are. You can also put in your own pension plan. But again, I'm not going to get into that right this second. But this brings up the issue, which is you obviously have great cash flow because you're saving a lot of money. How much do you think you spend on a monthly or annual basis?
Oh, I forgot. I knew you were going to ask me that. Well, I think on a monthly basis, if I'm counting keeping the roof over my head, it's probably about $9,000 a month. But I'm not counting college savings in that because I feel like I turn that off if I need to. So about $9,000 a month spending plus about $5,000 a month for college.
Okay, so let's not even put the 5,000, but even if it's 10,000 a month,
sure.
You've got great cash flow because you're putting in $5,000 into the college savings, which is amazing. And so what you're suggesting to me is that even beyond the 10 of expenses and the 5 in the college, that you have even more money available that you could fund the SEP or a brokerage. You have excess cash flow, right?
Yes.
How much do you think is that excess cash flow right now?
Yeah. I think a reasonable number, like I said, is about $30,000 a year. That's what I was thinking about. Yeah.
Okay. So now we're in this conversation, which you actually, now after I've asked you all these annoying questions, we're getting to your actual real question why you contacted us, which is, hey, with this $30,000, Jill and Mark, why would I not put the money away pre-tax into this SEP IRA, considering I live in a very high cost of living area and a high tax state, New York, considering that, my income, my wife and I as a household, that most of our income is taxed at 32, a little bit at 35%, but let's just call it mostly 32%. That's where we're really socked in there. Why, Jill? So the answer is sort of twofold. One is, you already have $570,000 in traditional money, right? And that's sort of on ice right now, right? Between the 508 and the 58. There's not new money going in there. And you've already now switched to the Roth 401k. And so we know that going forward, the Roth is probably a better alternative for you. The issue around the SEP is that you're adding to your pre-tax pile of money that will grow and grow and grow, that will eventually have to be taxed, right? Yeah. Okay. So, Mark, why is it advantageous for Pete and his wife to put that $30,000 a year into brokerage when they could be getting a tax deduction in the SEP IRA?
I mean, Pete already told us, he's all in on Roth. So he knows the deal. He knows the benefits, and he knows that with pre-tax money, eventually it's going to have to come out. It's going to be taxed as ordinary income. I would much rather put the money into a brokerage account and
have to pay capital gains. Yeah. So, also,
I was not getting that part. It's capital gains in the brokerage. It's ordinary income.
Exactly.
Okay.
We'll get back to Pete in just a minute. If you have a question, just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. And then if you want to join us live, you can just check the box and Mark will do everything else. It's just that easy. We'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
Welcome back. It's the Jill on Money Show. This is a program that is really focused on what's going on in your life, specifically your financial life. And so if you have something that's going on, maybe it's a big decision to make, or you just want to know, am I on the right track? Get in touch with us. Go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note, and let us know if you want to join us live by checking that box. Let's get back to Pete from New York. So if I looked at you guys right now, if for some reason you were like, I got to sell something out of my brokerage account, what would the rate be for you guys? Because you are married filing jointly, right? The actual long-term capital gains rate would be 15% plus a 3.8% Medicare surtax. So let's just say that the rate of capital gains that you would pay on that brokerage account, 18.8%. Now, that 18.8, it's not a zero, right? But it's 18.8 versus all that money that grows that has not yet been taxed will come out. And I bet you it's not coming out at 18 or 20%. It's just not. You're going to be at least in the 24% bracket later on in life. And so that is the capital gains rate is lower than ordinary income tax brackets. Pretty much you could count on that. Yep. And also, I'll just say, I like that you've got a little brokerage account. You're young, you're in your mid 40s. So I like having the access to the money and having a little bit of money that doesn't have to get tied up in a retirement account. That gives you flexibility. Now, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I was missing the part about the rates. I was always thinking the brokerage, I'm going to pay tax anyhow. So wouldn't I want some tax advantage? But I wasn't thinking of the rates. So yes, it does make sense.
Okay. Can I go back to one other question that that I heard in your little voice?
Yep.
As the 3.2% mortgage with 17 years left, which I think you said I'd like to pay that off early.
Yep.
Let's have a conversation.
Sure.
Just us, just the three of us.
Yep.
Of course, you know, mathematically that is not the wisest decision, right?
Well, because I can beat that 3.2% on T-bills or a CD.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In a very conservative or balanced portfolio.
Yeah.
Now, let's just push the clock ahead. Let's say it's 10 years from now, okay? And there's only 7 years left on your mortgage, and it's not that much money, and the kids are all in college, and everyone's good. You might say to me, I don't care if it's 3.2%. I just want this gone. That might be a time where, sure, if you want to do it, if you want to make I am not the kind of human being who believes that everything should be optimized mathematically. If that's kind of bugging you and for some reason, something's going on and you're like, I just want to get rid of it. Sure. But for the next 10, 12 years, I wouldn't do anything with that. It would be very hard for me. I'll tell you what, I have mortgages that are outstanding that are in that same range. I wish I had borrowed more money. That's how I feel. I really do. And the idea that I could have had sub 4% mortgage rates with more and more money, I wish I had that. But that's because I'm a little bit of a math head.
Yeah, no, I know. You'd be annoyed at me, but I've already paid off, I think 2 years of that mortgage. I've already cut it off. And I know mathematically it's bad, but it makes me feel good.
I know but you know what also should make you feel good, which would be kind of fun for you to do is why not look at what has happened? So it's like 10 years that you're 10 or 15 years, right? That you've been investing versus having that mortgage.
Yep.
And if you were to look at the rate of return on your accounts, I think that could make you feel really, really good. Meaning that, you've probably earned 10, 12% a year for the first part of this mortgage being in place for the first 13 years. And even if you said, I invested at the very top of the market in 2007 or something like right before the financial crisis, you still made 8% a year for the last 15 years. So I think it is the way to give yourself that peace of mind is to just remind yourself, hey, this was an amazing decision. We're so lucky.
Right.
And again, the kids are in college, everyone's good, and it's like a nuisance and you're just like, I'm just going to pay it down. Fine. But I really think you guys are in great shape. You've done a fantastic job. You're of course going to tell me that you have your estate planning done, right?
I do. The healthcare proxies, all of it. Yep.
Oh, beautiful. And what about life insurance? Because you are the primary wage earner. So what's going on for you there?
I have term policies for both me and my wife that burn off in 5 years, 11 years, 15 years. And, I think I have well over $1 million in coverage. I think we're okay there.
Okay. Just checking.
Jill, it's funny you were talking about market returns beating the mortgage rates, and you mentioned this. I think it was yesterday you mentioned this. So I actually looked for me personally, and I looked at the last 10 years rate of return 11.6%.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's outrageous.
It's incredible. We're so lucky to be investing during these years. It's also why, not to bring everybody down, but honestly, it's one of the reasons that helps explain how the wealth inequality has blown out. Because if you think about 40% of the country not owning any investment, and you think about the 60% that own something, you can see how it can just that chasm is just massive and gets bigger and bigger. So it's not just the amount of money that I earn, but it's I started investing 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I think that's one of the reasons why, and, we talked about this yesterday with, when we were going through emails, it's one of the reasons why I wouldn't be so hep if I were a parent right now to push my kids into buying a house. Because I think being an investor is going to be the way to accumulate, and it has been a great wealth accumulation. And if you were lucky enough to get the mortgage at 3.25%, like Pete and his wife, that's awesome. But if you had to go in and buy a house and have a big down payment and have a 6.5% note, maybe that's not something that's the smartest thing to do right now. It's just that we have to shift our mindset to at least compare these things. But you know what, Pete, you and your wife and your 3 kids, may you live long and prosper because you're doing great. So I hope that we got you on we hope we answered your questions. Anything else going on for you?
No, I think you've given me great advice. I appreciate it.
You're listening to the Jill on Money Show, and we will be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
Welcome back. It's Jill on Money. Here's an email from Valerie. Subject: not sure what my next steps are. Okay. Valerie's 59. She retired from a state job with a pension, and she also works part-time. She nets about $8,200 a month. She needs $3,000 for bills and living expenses. How about that, Mark? She maxes out her Roth. She wants to invest in a condo. She lives in Connecticut. It's a high cost of living and high tax rates. I'm wondering what I can do to better prepare for later life concerns. I've had cancer twice. I'm not sure I can get long-term care insurance. You probably can't. And if you could, it would be very expensive. What should I do to make sure that I'll be okay? I'm single, no kids. Okay. She has a net worth of about $1.2 million. Okay. About $350,000 is in a house, and she's got other stuff, lots of other assets. So what I will say, Valerie, is that if you are alone, I'm just thinking about this previous question, this sort of similar to Priscilla, and you have all this money and assets in all different accounts. The question is, do you want to do this yourself? If you want to continue managing this yourself, what I would try to do is consolidate as many assets as I can. Okay. And if you could do that, making sure that all the money is in one place, make sure that all like accounts are combined. So if there's an old 457 plan out there, roll it into a rollover account. If there's old Roth, new Roth, put it all in one place. Then you try to create a game plan where you will be allocating this and getting that money to work for you. But there's really no big issue since you net all this money and you have only the need for $3,000. So, even if you stopped working part-time, it seems like your pension would probably cover your needs. So that's really the most important thing. I would not, the one thing you mentioned that I say I would not do is I certainly would not go and invest in a condo. I really would not do that. I would stay liquid and I would keep the allocation simple, and I would try to make sure that things are tidy and neat and accounts are easy to manage. So that's my 2 cents. This next question is from Anonymous, and the subject is not going to inspire hate mail. Okay, so Anonymous says that she's a shy long-term investor. And so she says, ready for this, Mark? I can hear Mark saying that my situation is not a slam dunk, not even close. And Jill, my brain tells me you would say I need to work longer or find a new endeavor that offers health insurance. But I am starting to feel the stress of my job and worry I am going to change my future health if I continue to work. So I would like a way to retire fully right now. There's mixed longevity in the family. One side passes in their 70s, other in their 90s. Okay, so 60-year-old dual citizen of the U.S. and the EU, a 20-year-old in college, 1 to 2 years left, no state income tax. Okay, so the remaining money in a 529 should cover the additional costs. Here's what Anonymous has, Mark. 430 grand in an IRA, 140 in a Roth, 20 grand in an HSA, about $500,000 in a brokerage account, 50 grand in cash. All right. So remember, Anonymous is 60 and says that full retirement age Social Security is about 3 grand a month. Zillow says house is worth 600 grand. It's paid off. Willing to sell it if it makes sense to do so. Monthly spend is 9 grand. So that's a real number. But 2 grand of that is due to work costs. So it looks like if we think about the spend is 7 grand and now look at those numbers, yeah, this is not great. Okay. So what happens is the essentials that Anonymous has is $3,500 a month. She says she uses a retirement calculator, which suggests that she could stay in her home and spend $6,000 in a month. But in my mind, the numbers don't work. Mark, what do you think about Anonymous here? We've got about $1 million. There will be 3 grand a month at age 67. She's 60 right now. She may be able to shave off this, like what sounds like 7 grand a month down to 3,500 a month. What do you think about this?
It's a lot of shaving. I mean, I don't know what the real number is. If it's 7,000, then there's a significant shortfall.
But if it is more like 4,000,
close.
That's close.
Still too close for my comfort.
Me too. I mean, so Anonymous is self-employed and says the income is variable. Could you just work a few more years and just chill out, not work as much? Maybe that could be it. If she says that essentially I'd be comfortable spending $5,000 a month if I moved to the EU, sold my house, then I'd have $1.5 million. But even 5 grand a month is cutting it close because we still have to actually account for the fact that inflation will eat into a lot of this. I mean, it's really close. And I put it this way. I say it's not a slam dunk. I don't think it's not even close. I think it is close, but I would prefer if you could figure out a way to say, hey, what would happen for the next 5 years if instead of making whatever I make, 150 or 200, what would happen if I made 75 or 100 grand a year? Could that then make you feel like you could keep doing it for a few more years or 5 more years? Then I think you're in good shape. I don't feel like you have to aggressively save. I would just love it if you could simply take the amount of money you're earning and maybe titrate down in the time, and then maybe that gives you a little more longevity. I don't know. I hope that would work. You are listening to Jill on Money. You're back. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we are here trying to help you make better and sometimes less complicated financial decisions. If you feel like that's where you fall, that maybe you overthink these things and you just want a little assistance, give us a holler. Go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Now, while you're on the website, I want to point out that our next webinar has been posted. This is part of the Jill on Money live subscription service. For $45 for the next 12 months, you have access to quarterly live webinars, the back catalog of the other webinars that we've conducted, bonus audio and video content. Again, $45 for the next 12 months. Our next webinar is focused on year-end tax and financial planning. It's on Wednesday, November 19th, and I really encourage you to join us. It's going to be a quick-paced one, and we're going to answer as many questions as we possibly can in real time with CFP Jana Davis. Okay, now back to you. This email is from Lisa, who writes, I'm working with my 89-year-old mother on funeral planning. She happens to be in great health, so it's not an urgent thing, but we know it is helpful to discuss these matters. My question is about prepaying for it. Right now, she's all right financially up until about age 100. At that point, I think we'll run out of money. I think it would be better for her to use her money for living now rather than tying it up and prepaying for a funeral. What are your thoughts? Well, Lisa, this is a little bit of a touchy one. I kind of feel like if your mom would be more secure prepaying for it, then sure, you can just have her prepay it. But of course, I see your point as well. I just think whatever gives her comfort at this point, considering she's 89 and it is her money, let's stick with that and help her guide us towards the right conclusion. I hope that helps. If you've got a question about estate planning, retirement planning, college planning, choosing between jobs, housing, anything like that, get in touch with us. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note, and if you think you'd like to join us live, just check the box and Mark will do everything else. You're listening to the Jill on Money Show, and we'll be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's hour number 2 of the Jill on Money Show, and we are here trying to help guide you on your financial journey. And each of us has a different journey, right? That is why it is so important for us to listen to what you hope to accomplish. You can do that by going to our website, JillOnMoney.com, and then in the upper right-hand corner, wherever you navigate on the website, there will be a Contact Us button. That button is the magic way to communicate with us. When the form pops up, that's the email we receive. Give us a holler, tell us what's going on. If you would like to discuss whatever you're writing about and join us live, check the box and Mark will do everything else. While you're on the website, don't forget to sign up for the free weekly newsletter. It comes out every Friday. And by the way, just doing that will get you our blog as well. You can also check out our 2 podcasts, Jill on Money and Money Watch, the most recent videos that I've done on CBS News, and our resources section. Right now, let's kick off the hour. We are talking to Mark, who joins us from Minnesota. Hello, Mark from Minnesota. How are you? What can we do for you?
Fantastic. I was just calling to see if you can answer a question that I have in regards to my Roth, or my current amount of Roth.
Okay. Tell us about yourself.
I'm 61. My wife is 64. We have been squirreling away for quite a while, and I woke up one day and I have $1.7 million in total 401k between my wife and I, and also Roth and traditional. And of that, 1.7 million, 650,000 is in Roth. And
Great.
I squirrel away 31.5 every year in my 401k and Roth, and my wife sticks with just the traditional pre-tax matching. So I have about 200,000 in traditional, and I was wondering, at my age of 61, should I start gnawing away at that 200,000 in traditional, or just let it alone and keep doing the 31.5?
So the 31.5, you're in your 401k is going to a Roth 401k, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And you said between the two of you, it's 1.7 million, right?
Correct.
Of which 650 is Roth. So where's the 200,000 coming from? Just explain that number to me.
That's a traditional IRA, the 200.
Oh, just an IRA. Okay, I gotcha.
Yep.
Okay,
Correct.
so that's in addition to the 401ks that you just
Yeah.
Okay,
So the
I gotcha.
traditional, the question is, do I start converting the traditional to Roth?
Mhm. I got you. Okay, here's my question to you. Tell me about money you have outside of retirement assets.
Outside, about 70,000 in company stock, about 10,000 in a brokerage account, and 20,000 in cash.
Okay. You guys own your own home?
Yes, we actually have 3 houses.
Oh my goodness, that's 2 more than you need. But okay, are all 3 of them fun for you, or are they rental properties?
Okay, one is an Airbnb that I own in another state in the.
Okay,
Yep.
wait a second. In another state, how much is it worth?
It's worth 60,000. It is a hunting house that I rent out to duck hunters.
Oh my God. Okay. Is there any mortgage on that little hunting house?
No, it's completely paid for. My wife refers to it as Baltic Avenue.
Oh my God, I love it. That is such a great reference. I'm, of course, now a very big expert in hunting because I watch Hunting Wives on Netflix. So I know everything about that. I'm just kidding. I know nothing. So it's a little shack. It brings in money. Easy peasy, right? No problems with this. No reason to sell it. That's really what I'm
No
asking.
reason to sell it. It covers itself, and the extra that it makes, Baltic Avenue, it pays for the expenses of the cabin that we own, because I'm from Minnesota. You're supposed to own a cabin.
Okay, how much is the cabin worth?
$350,000.
That's just for your use. It's just fun, right?
Yes.
No rental. Got it. Okay,
Right.
Next, your primary residence.
Yes. That's $450,000.
Okay, also paid off.
We owe $30,000, 3.875, and we'll be done in 2.5 years.
Okay, I love it. Okay, you guys have grown kids?
Yes, launched. Wonderful.
Launched.
Perfect.
Oh, thank gosh. Okay, so kids launched. Oh, I forgot to ask you, how much did you guys earn together?
Together, we earn about $220,000.
And that's good money. You're putting a lot of money away, right?
Yeah, as much as we can. Yes.
Okay. And when you think about retirement, what is the game plan? Like, when do you think? I'm saying you have to. I'm just giving you when do you think you'll want to call it quits?
Yeah, so I want to work for 6 more years. My wife, I'm 61, she's 64. She wants to work 3 more years. We want to start drawing at 67.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you're a big fan of 70, but it just seems there's a lot of trends in the industry that are talking about, 65 versus 67 versus 70. So right now we're thinking.
Wait a minute. What trends are we talking about? Are you talking about? Tell me more about what you're thinking. Because I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying that, obviously, if your wife is in 3 more years and she stops and you want to draw at full retirement age, that's okay. But if you could wait, you will. The trend is that people are saying, well, if I had that money, right? And presuming you're both in good health, right? You're in good health? You sound
Yes.
healthy. I don't know.
Perfect.
Cabin. Okay. So let's presume you're in good health. You're going to live a long life. The math around claiming at between 67 and 70 is about this guaranteed 8% increase annually to the benefit. Okay. Now, I think that when you talk about trends, I think what you hear about is a lot of people who are in the investment management business saying, oh, you're so stupid to do that. Just claim at 67 and you take your money and you'll invest because, you can earn 12% or 13% a year. That's what we've had for the last 10 years or 12 years, right? That's what I think is like in the ether right now. And the only reason that I would just caution against thinking like that is comparing a guaranteed 8% increase with an at-risk 12 or 13% possibility. So I'm not saying you have to do it. I think that at your full retirement age, you'll probably have a nice income from your Social Security. I do want to I'm not saying this to you, Mark, because I think you have plenty of money and everything's good, but I put that to other people out there listening, because I think when you have buoyant markets, what usually will happen is people will say, oh, why would you want 8% return when you can get 12 or 13% return? Of course, this assumes you're 100% in stocks and you're on the ride. So, okay, now I'm done giving you my soapbox. You can claim at 67 if you want. What is your benefit at 67, each of you?
Well, can I just say that I thought that was fantastic. Financial planners are like E.F. Hutton. Everybody my age is saying, my financial planner says.
Yes.
And I really believe that there's financial investors versus financial retirement splainers. And you're a good splainer.
We'll get back to Mark in just a minute. If you've got something going on in your financial life, get in touch with us by going to JillOnMoney.com and clicking that Contact Us button. We will be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we are here answering your financial questions. Now, it doesn't matter how big or small that question is. It doesn't matter how much money you have, or maybe you don't have any money. It doesn't matter whether you're 80 years old or 18 years old. We would love to hear from you. If something's going on and it touches a dollar sign in your life, get in touch with us by going to JillOnMoney.com, clicking the Contact Us button, which is in the upper right-hand corner of the website, and writing us a note. If you would like to join us live on the air, check the box. Mark will arrange to do that. And while you're on the website, don't forget to check out all the content that lives there, including our free weekly newsletter. It comes out every Friday. Right now, let's get back to Mark from Minnesota. I lived through as a financial advisor, I lived through the 90s. Okay. And those 90s, that was a terrible period for someone like me. I'm a wimpy advisor. I would be like, well, we believe in a diversified portfolio. People would be like, well, I'm investing in the NASDAQ and I'm making, 70% last year. You're fired. So I got fired a lot during the late 90s. And then everything came crashing down. And I'm not suggesting I know when a crash is going to come, but I know the difference between a guarantee and assuming risk to get something. So that's the only reason that I put it out there. Okay. I really don't want to make it, like I said, I really want to be clear that it sounds to me like you're in very good shape. Okay. Really good shape. But I also want to try to remind everyone else. Okay. So that's kind of where I am. Let me get back to your Social Security. What's the amount of money that you will receive?
We will receive right around $60,000 a year.
Okay. And what do you think you spend?
At 67. We spend about $7,500 to $8,000 a year.
Yeah, a month. But I'll
yeah.
let you off the hook for that.
Thank you.
I caught that.
You are the lifeline. Thank you.
And you guys, you have the Launch kids, but do you have anyone else that you have to worry about? Do you have parents who are still alive?
No.
Okay. So we need to come up with an extra $40,000 a year, right? And that's a no big deal because you've got the money that is available to you. Now, let's say your wife retires in 3 years, okay? She's putting money into a retirement account up to her match. Is that what's happening?
No, she makes about $80,000 and she's doing 15%, which comes to about $12,000 a year.
Does she have a Roth option or only a traditional?
Only traditional.
Does she have a match or not?
She does, and I don't know. I think it's run around 3 or 4%. She's in a TIAA.
So here's what I think is going to happen for you guys. Okay, so 3 years from now, she calls it quits. You live on your salary basically for 3 more years, right? Because you can.
Right.
Which is great. Now, the question is, you called in to talk about the converting of this money, this 200 grand in the traditional. I'm not sure you need to do that. You don't have a ton of money in non-retirement assets. And so what I would actually suggest is for the next few years while your wife is still working, I don't think I'd have her put any more money into traditional. I think I would have her just put her money into up to the match. And then I would have her take the rest of the money she was putting into the 401k and just putting it into your brokerage account, leaving it be, let that build up a little bit. She retires. She's 67. And now what you would in the traditional IRA, is it in your name or her name?
Both. Okay.
Then what I would do is probably at her, when she's retired, we can start pulling the money. Let's start pulling some of the money, that traditional money, out and just paying the tax on it a little bit at a time. You can both do it, but I would wait till she retired because that'll give you a chance to pull out a little bit of extra money, pay the tax that's due, stay in the same tax, like your tax position will be the same. And I would get the money out that way from that traditional account and start to just, dribble it out. She is not going to, you're losing that 80 grand, but she's going to have some money from Social Security. Just whatever that differential is, pull that money out of the retirement account. Stay in the same tax bracket that you're in. You don't have to make any big major moves. And then when you retire at your age 67 or whenever you decide to do it, you can start doing the same thing with some of your traditional money, just pulling it out in the time before you need to take those required minimum distributions. And I think that if you do that, you're staying pretty much in the 22, maybe I don't think you'll even go up to the 24%. You go into the 22% tax bracket, you pay the tax that's due, you have some of that liquidity building up because your wife's no longer putting money into her 401k, she's putting it into a brokerage. And we're going to start pulling money out of this traditional account. We're going to build up that amount of money that's already been taxed. And you guys are smooth sailing. You get to be your age 67. And now you're going to start pulling money out of these traditional accounts and living on it to supplement your Social Security. So you'll end up, when you are 67, between the two of you, you'll start taking out, let's call it 120 grand between the two of you. Not even. It would probably be 100 grand a year that you pull out between the two of you, and you pay the tax that's due, and then you live on that in addition to your Social Security. You're sweet. You're done. You're good. All's well. And chances are, I don't know how much you're going to end up spending over time. Your kids will inherit some money. You keep you keep the primary, you keep the cabin, you Airbnb for as long as you think it makes sense for you. No necessary moves in terms of real estate. I think it's all great, but I wouldn't. So for your initial question, should you convert that 200? I say no, but I would have your wife pull back on the amount of money she's adding to her traditional account, just up to the match. Put the balance into the brokerage account. Live your life. Have fun. Go Vikings. How do we do?
Great. Can I ask one quick question?
Sure.
My wife thinks once we stop working, we will magically fall into the 12% taxable income bracket because our combined Social Security will be 60,000.
Yeah, but we have to pull money out of your retirement account because that's what's going to keep you in the 22% later in life. That's the issue that you have. So like you said, you have right now, just think of it this way. You got $1.3 million that hasn't been taxed yet, right? Between your traditional and the 401ks, right? The traditional IRAs and the 401ks. If we do nothing with those accounts, okay, they're going to grow so that by the age of, let's say you're 75. So she turns 75 in 11 years. So we have all this money. If we don't pull it out now, it grows, it grows, it grows. Let's just pretend. I'm going to just, for fun, say that by the time this is a low number, but I want to illustrate the point. let's say you have $2 million by the time you are starting your required minimum distributions, right? That means the government's going to say you have to take 80 grand a year out of your account. 80 plus 60 is 140. You're in the 22% tax bracket. Got it? 80 grand from the required minimum distribution plus your Social Security, doesn't include any of your rental income from Baltic Avenue, and you are automatically in the 22%. All I'm suggesting is let's get that 22% money out right now. Let's control it. Let's do it very methodically so that, for all I know, if you have a run in assets or the stock of your company stock does well, or you're putting more money in and things go really well, which is all wonderful, you'll have even more money that's forced out. But I like controlling the tax situation rather than having it be you being controlled by it.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right. Now listen, last thing. Estate documents done?
Done.
If you've got something going on in your financial life, maybe you're thinking about 2 different jobs, maybe you're thinking about selling a home, maybe you're thinking about buying your first home, whatever it is, get in touch with us. You don't have to do this alone. Go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. It's just that easy. You're listening to the Jill on Money Show, and we will be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. Let's talk to Mary from Ohio. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Jill and Mark. Thanks for having me on the show. I've been a listener for 5 years, and I love all the advice that you give.
Oh, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. What is the advice that you are seeking for yourself today?
Well, I am about 1 year away from retirement, and my husband is 3 years away from retirement. And I want to know if we should start making adjustments to our allocations. We have 3 more years to save, and we've been pretty good about saving. But the bonus is that we both are entitled to pension. So we're not going to be needing this money for at least 10 years after we retire.
You both have pensions?
Yes.
Oh, gosh, that does take the pressure off, doesn't it?
It does.
Did you consider this when you first entered this job where you had a pension? Did you think, this is going to make my life easier? Or is it just now you're realizing?
I always knew it. I'm an educator, so I loved my profession and I knew I was going to stick with it. So that was one of the bonuses. It was hard at the beginning because they take a large percentage out for your pension.
Right.
But now I'm very grateful.
It's funny. I always think about educators, especially, in teachers, not necessarily college professors, but where you hear that when you're a young teacher and you have your friends who are like in the private sector, and those people are making more money and they're saving money in their retirement, maybe not. But the fact that you're forced to put that money away is really different. It's different than saying, we'd like you to put money into your 401k. And yet I feel like it's such a perfect model. Like when we force you to do it, you see it pays off in the end. So Mary, tell us a little bit about what you have accumulated, and then maybe we can make a determination about whether anything needs to get done. So you said you're 1 year from retirement. Your husband's 3 years from retirement. How old are you guys?
I'm 55 and my husband is 58.
Okay. And because you're educators, does that mean you have health care as well?
Yes.
Okay, great. So in 1 year, what will your pension be?
My pension will be $73,000 every year.
Wow. And in 3 years, what will your husband's be?
$52,000.
And is that the amount of money you guys can live on? Do you think you'll need more than that? How does that jibe with your general spending?
I've been tracking our spending for the last 3 years, and we are at about $70,000, including travel.
What?
Yeah, we.
I'm sitting. Wait, what? Holy! So this is more than enough.
It is. It is. And I've run some projections like when inflation will catch up to, what it would be. So I feel comfortable with our 10-year mark of saying that we won't have to touch our investments till then.
Well, but in 10 years, you'll have Social Security as well. So what will those payments look like?
Well, I'm not entitled to Social Security, so this is it for me. And my pension is fixed. I don't get a cost of living increase.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And,
but his is what?
He is entitled to about $900 at 62, but I don't know at full retirement age what that amount is.
All right.
And then his pension is entitled to a 2% cost of living increase every year.
Okay, but fixed at 2%. All right. Well, as you said, this is a good amount of money, gets you through a bunch of years. You'll have more than you need, but then you also have savings. So tell me a little bit about savings.
So we've been investing heavily in Roth. So most of our funds are in Roth accounts. So we have Roth IRAs in target date accounts totaling about $300,000.
Okay, that's great.
We have 457 plans that we've been investing in, and those are mostly Roth as well, about 240,000 in the 457 plans. Those are in large cap stock index. So
all stock, though.
All stock.
Okay.
And then I have a pre-tax IRA that was a rollover from when I worked in college. About 35,000 is all in large cap. We have another rollover IRA from my husband that's about 19,000, and that's in a target date. And we have laddered these target dates. I don't know if that's a thing, but I started doing that. So some are in 2030, some are in 2035, and some are in 2040.
Okay.
And then we have a joint brokerage account, about 74,000 in VTSAX.
Okay. So also stock. Okay.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the other stuff, like you own a home, do you have an emergency reserve fund, all that boring stuff that I love.
Yeah, we do own our home. It's worth about $330,000, and we just paid it off a couple years ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I keep about $20,000 in a high yield savings account as our emergency fund.
Yep.
We have about $65,000 in laddered CDs.
Okay.
And about $45,000 in I-bonds.
You got plenty of cash on hand. That's great. Okay, perfect. And you're managing all this money yourself. Nobody is, kind of horning in on you saying, we want you to buy this insurance product or anything like that. It's all you, right?
It is. For the last 25 years, it's been me. I did start out with a financial advisor in my 20s, and I'm grateful for that experience. It was a friend who was just starting out. And he got us going in UTMA accounts for our kids and helped us roll over our old 401ks and started life insurance. But then I kind of turned that off 25 years ago, and I went into Vanguard and did it all myself.
Great. Okay, great. The kids are grown. Everyone's good, right? You're not supporting anyone else, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I don't want to complicate your life. That's number one. So number one, please hear this in the spirit in which it is meant to give you just like general guidance. I love that you've got the money that's in the emergency reserve and the bonds and all that. I think that that's perfect. Okay. What are you earning right now?
This year, I'm going to earn $112,000.
So it's not as if your tax bracket's going down anytime soon.
No.
You've got, right? Okay. Are you guys both in good health?
Yes.
Okay. So a couple of big picture things first. So I love that you have a little emergency reserve. Great. Keep that. Don't be messing around with that. I love that you have this fixed pension payment that will be coming in. I love that. It's fantastic. Your husband's 58. He's going to work till he's 61. I would not be in a hurry to take his Social Security. I would love it if you guys could have a higher benefit that will then be indexed for inflation. So I think that would be a good thing. Would we essentially just, forego that Social Security for till his full retirement age? It'll end up being, I don't know what it is, $1,200 or something like that a month. That'll be nice to have. We'll get back to Mary in just a moment.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's the Jill on Money Show. Let's get back to Mary from Ohio. As you said, you don't need this money anytime soon that is all socked away. So what probably should happen is that, in those years when your husband has retired, not taking Social Security, you're retired, that's when you should probably get the pre-tax money out of the account and just pay the tax that's due at the time. You don't have to convert it or anything. You can just pull it out, okay, and add that to your brokerage account. So that would be the $35,000 that's, all stocks, the target date fund of $19,000, whatever is. But just think about this, that like my window of opportunity to get money out of pre-tax accounts should occur at husband's, I was about to say graduation, husband's retirement until he claims Social Security, okay? Dribble it out, get it out, fine. Okay, now to your question. I think you have enough money that you don't need to be in target date funds. I know they're cheap. They're kind of easy. That's why I said I don't want to complicate things. But essentially, if you wanted to look at 10 years from now and say, that's really when I think I'm going to need most of, some of this money, at least in the Roths, I would just be owning a large cap stock index like the S&P 500 or an extended market index. I'd own a bond index. I'd own an international index. And I don't think I would own a target date. On the other hand, it's not going to hurt you. Mark, is the target date fund at Vanguard cheap? It has to be. I mean, I don't know if it's as cheap as the actual index funds, but isn't the target date fund pretty cheap at Vanguard?
Yeah, I mean, it's not crazy expensive, but are you going to save money using individual index funds? Yes.
Yeah. And so, again, I don't want to be silly about this. I just think that it makes sense to me, instead of looking at target dates, to just say, I know what my target is. In 10 years, I may need some of this money. Maybe I should be more of a balanced investor, meaning that I should have, let's say for now, you'd want to have about 70% stocks, 30% bonds. Okay. Because your growth still, because you don't need any of the money anytime soon. And then maybe in 5 years, you go 65-35. And then, maybe get to 60-40-ish, only so that you smooth out the variations in the actual movement of these assets. If you're like, I just like my target date funds, then fine. It's just that, obviously these years are going to come up and the money's going to be available. And it doesn't exactly thread the needle of what I think you want to be doing at this point, which is just managing your money as what percentage in stocks versus bonds versus cash versus international or any other asset. But I'm not sure you're going to make a big mistake either way. If you're getting extra money at this point and you say, what do I do with it? I would put it in the brokerage account, or I might even say I could buy some extra laddered CDs. If you said I had a little extra money right now and something was coming due, well, maybe I'd buy another, a 5-year CD with a chunk of money just to know I've locked in that rate. Interest rates are going to go down. So as those laddered CDs come due, you're not going to earn as much. But on the other hand, you're in great shape. There's nothing bad that can happen. So in my mind, it's just setting yourself up 10 years out. How do I look at my allocation? It seems like you're fine with risk. Are you okay? Because you do have risk on the table, but you've weathered a lot of storms. So how do you feel about it?
I do feel comfortable with risk now that I see where we're at. Years ago, the target date seemed safe. That's why I went with it. And I didn't want to have to worry about it.
Yeah. And now if you're a little bit more involved, I can get that. Is your husband have any interest in this, or he's just like, Mary, you do a great job. You're my person?
Yeah, that's his stance.
So can we just make sure if you, God forbid, drop dead tomorrow, that he would understand what to do? Like, what would he do? Would he have to hire someone to help him out?
No, we talk about it all the time.
Okay,
he just understands, like I do all the research and make the moves and, we talk it through. If I were to take some of these funds and move them into the allocations that you mentioned, what amounts would I move that? There's 300,000 in target date funds. How would I do that?
You would just sell the target date and buy the underlying. You see, the way the target date funds work at a place like Vanguard is essentially that they are buying the index underneath the that I would be saying is like, instead of them buying it, you just buy it directly. So you can reallocate at any time. You're not going to have there's not going to be a tax hit. Most of this money is in Roth accounts or the 457 account. I wouldn't do it necessarily in the brokerage account. I would just leave that alone. And as you start adding money to the brokerage account, I might add some in a bond fund like that. Just very easy. But if you don't want to do it all at once, you can maybe decide to do, some of it this year, and you can do a little bit at a time, knowing that you want to get to the allocation. I mean, look, if we pull up the Vanguard Target Date Fund 2030, chances are the allocation is a little bit wimpier than you would like because you like risk and you don't really need the money in 2030. So the point of the target date is to not just actually invest to that date, but through that date. So maybe you look at the allocation of the actual target date funds that you own and say, well, why don't I just replicate that myself? And if you don't want to, you don't have to. You really don't. And if you get to the 2030 and you're like, now we're talking, it's 5 years from now, maybe I'll just shove it all into the 2035. You can do that too. You really can. It does not require you to make a wholesale decision one way or the other. I just want you to be aware of the risk and also the comfort level you have. So I don't think you have to do anything huge right now for sure. But I do think that it is good for you to look at these accounts and say, is this really the allocation that I want? You now know kind of where you are constitutionally when it comes to risk.
Okay, great.
You're listening to the Jill on Money Show. Welcome back. It's the Jill on Money Show, where we are trying to help provide a little mentorship, maybe even just sort of take the heaviness of the financial decisions that you face every single day off of you alone. We can help you through whatever it is you and your family might be facing. Go to JillOnMoney.com. That's our website. And in the upper right-hand corner, we've got a Contact Us button. When you press that button, a form will pop up. That's the email that we receive. If you're shy and you really don't think you want to come on the air with us, then give us a lot of detail when you write us a note. But if you think you want to come on the air, just check the box, and Mark will do everything else. He'll arrange to get you on the air live. It's so much fun when you do that. We can ask a lot of follow-up questions. Before we conclude the program, I want to get to this important email that we received. It's from Anonymous, who wrote, I'm a federal worker currently furloughed. I have enough savings to cover my immediate expenses, thankfully. However, my credit union is now offering a $5,000 shutdown assistance loan at 1.5% fixed APR, a 12-month term with no payment up to 60 days. I currently have $10,000 in credit card debt with a 28% APR. Should I take this loan to pay down a portion of the credit card debt? Now, isn't this interesting? Because, of course, in Anonymous's world before the shutdown, there was no offer. I'm sure that your first inclination is absolutely take the loan and pay down half of your credit card debt, then work hard to pay off the rest of the credit card debt and the loan before the year is up. I just want to make sure you understand what would happen at the end of the 12-month term if you haven't paid that back. So once you get that information, I think we probably can proceed, but let's figure that out before you plow ahead. Okay, that is it. That is the program. Our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is our executive producer and king of all things web. And we always ask that you do something nice for someone else today. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.